Greetings, everyone. My name is William Zabo, and alongside me is Michael Joseph, and we are Insite Media. Recently, Rockstar released a video on the gameplay. It's our first look of the gameplay for Red Dead Redemption 2, and we thought we would give you our insight on what we think of the game. So, what was the first thing you liked, Mike?
What I liked first was guaranteed how beautiful that game looks. So the game looks stunning. I don't think there's a single person I have talked to that doesn't think this game looks beautiful. The amount of detail, the amount of immersion, I mean, the environments, the weather, the game is stunning.
I think that's kind of the first thing you get, even from when the trailer starts. You know what I mean? Like that's the first thing that kind of smacks you in the face is this a cutscene? No, this is how the game's going to look while we're playing it, and it almost makes you feel like there's no way that the PS4 and Xbox One are going to run a game that looks like this, which is one of the things I love about Rockstar. I feel like them personally, they're one of the few companies that are third party that really push the hardware to the limits. They're kind of like, oh, you know what? We're going to get everything we can out of this. And I think they did it last generation with GTA 5, which when that came out, people were like, holy crap, this looks amazing. And I think they're doing it again with Red Dead 2 now.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that you're not a big Rockstar fan anyway, so for you to, understand how in detail they put in, even Grand Theft Auto 5 is still probably one of the best looking games on the PS4.
Yeah.
And that came out last gen.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it doesn't surprise me. One thing that I do say that that makes me happy about, Rockstar showing a trailer is I believe that that's really how the game is going to look. There's no doubt in my mind that the game is going to look absolutely incredible on a PS4 Pro with a 4K TV. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I don't think Rockstar has ever been in the business of showing us false graphics or fake trailers and stuff like that. Another thing that I think Rockstar really does well, and man, did they show it even with this trailer, is like they really know how to make a world look alive. And you and me were talking about it before. One of the things you brought up was in the very beginning when you see the main character get thrown out of the pub. When he hits the ground, you just see the mud actually move with the impact of him, and while he's rolling over, you see that mud shifting with him.
Yeah, it like goes up his body as he hits. Like as he's rolling, you could see different parts of his clothing get dirty. Even stuff as detailed. I would stop the trailer a couple times and look at the hooves of the horses based off of the weather they were in. So if you're walking in the snow, there's literally snow on the bottom of the hooves of the horses and the bottom of your shoes. It's that level of detail is unmatched, especially in a game as big as Red Dead is going to be.
Oh yeah, they said it's probably going to be bigger than GTA 5, which to me is amazing, and a little kind of makes you worry because they've really showed a lot as to how realistic everything looks in the game. But that was kind of something that you and me talked about. That was one of our drawbacks as to what kind of worries us now about the game entirely. And that is that maybe it's too realistic because they have these mundane tasks like constantly keeping up with your camp, taking care of your horse. So what do you think about that stuff?
So I was super excited for this game. I loved Red Dead 1. You and I both love Red Dead 1. And like I said, I know you're not a Rockstar fan, but Red Dead was one of the ones that we could always get behind. And when Red Dead 2 was announced, I was super excited. The trailers that they have shown up until this recent gameplay one had me really excited. And I almost wish I didn't watch this because I think these mundane tasks might drop the immersion for me. I think it might be too realistic. The point where I may be doing a main quest and my horse, I might not have to stop to like clean my horse, or I may have to stop to feed my horse. I think that's insane. I think it's also insane that I'll bring them back to the camp and I have to probably put them in a stable with other horses. I may have to leave to go get food for them. I believe even in the trailer they said something about the more time you spend with your camp, the better the morale is going to be. You can even spend significant time with individuals, and you can like uncover stuff about them and what they like and what they don't like. Do you think that's going to take away from the story? Because I think it is. I I think personally my favorite part about Grand Theft Autos is how invested in the story I am. And if I don't want to be, I can do what I want. But if I don't want to do the story, I have to take care of my camp.
Yeah, so that's one of the concerns that I do have is you have this huge open world. How much time do I really have to put into this camp? And if I choose not to, am I really going to be severely punished on missing out on significant things? Because they did say that like spending time with prime members of your camp can reveal secrets and certain missions and objectives. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's really cool. But how much time do I have to invest into each person? How much time am I spending in my camp compared to spending out in the world? Because that's what's important. Like, if you're going to have this huge open world, I want to explore it, and I don't want to feel like I'm being penalized by exploring it because now I'm missing out on things in my camp. And I think there's some games do a really good balance of side content and main content. Like The Witcher 3, in my opinion, does a really good job at that. It has a good story, but even the side missions feel just as important and good as the main story. And I think Grand Theft Auto is another game that's very similar to that, where the main story is really good, but you have those key side missions where you're just kind of like, wow, that's amazing that they put that in there. I want them to do that with Red Dead, but I'm afraid now that like this whole camp is going to be the main focus of the game and the mini game where I'm spending all my time there, and I'm not going to really go and explore caves and go hunting and stuff.
I agree. Um, I think Grand Theft Auto 3 came out in 2001, right? And I was 10 years old. So I was 10 years old, it came out in 2001, and I didn't even know there was a story. The best part about Grand Theft Auto to me was I can just do whatever I want. I thought that was the whole purpose of the game. I could walk up to somebody and you could rip them out of a car and drive the car around. The game felt fun. I could put in my cheat codes. And that's what I love about Red Dead. I love that I didn't have a car. So because I didn't have a car, I had a horse, and it slowed the game down enough that I felt like I was making good enough progress moving across the world, but I could explore something. I could see something new. I saw an area and I would go explore it. And I was always really happy with what I found. And I know for a fact that Rockstar is going to jam pack this world with a bunch of stuff. There's always going to be something around a corner, always over a mountain, over a hill. Wherever you go, it's going to look fantastic, and there's going to be a lot to do there. But do I have to worry about where I put this camp? Do I have to worry about I can't go explore right now because the morale of my camp's going to be low? Do I have to worry about, I haven't fed my horse in whatever the amount of game time, and then I have to figure out how to do that, and I'm too far away from my camp, and then will the horse die? So, I have so many questions.
So I'm glad you just brought up the horse, because that was something we haven't really touched on yet. But before we talk about the horse, if you're liking what you're hearing right now, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking of this episode. It's a new channel. We really want to get ourselves out there and build with you guys. So leave comments down below. Let us know what you think of Red Dead while we conclude our final thoughts of that first trailer we saw. Though I agree with the horse. They talked about horse maintenance, which to me is another mini game. It's like, okay, how often do I have to clean this horse? And if I don't clean the horse to a significant amount of time, what are the drawbacks? And we know that you're going to have more than one horse, because in the trailer they talked about how certain horses are better for certain tasks. And we also know that you're going to be moving your camp around a lot, much like the Oregon Trail. So what do you have to do with each horse? And does that really matter? Like, do I constantly have to be worrying about all 20 horses I own? Or can I be like, all right, you know what? These horses are on a certain level of likeness, and I don't have to worry about them anymore. They're good. Because if I only have to spend an hour with a horse real quick, all right, I'll spend an hour with a horse and get it to love me, but that won't go down. Much like in San Andreas, where when you went and you built your body up because you wanted to have that huge muscle tone on your character, it felt like as soon as you left the gym, that muscle started depleting, and you'd be in the middle of a mission, it would just be going down, and you're like, man, I gotta get back to the gym. but I got to finish this mission too. So I'm curious as to how frequent I'm going to be doing it.
Yeah, and that goes back to the question: is how realistic? Too realistic, because there is no doubt. I have no doubt that if anybody can do it right, it'll be Rockstar. That'll make it fun. That'll make it interesting. But will it be something that I can just do? That's what I love about Rockstar games. I can follow the story if I want to follow a story. I can just not. I can literally do half of the story and then not touch the story over again and pick up Grand Theft Auto and just immerse myself in this world. And will it be something that like takes away? Will it be something that if I stop with the camps, if I stop with the horses, that the morale goes down, that they don't even want to listen to me? Will that impact this story? Will it have a different story? Now, if that's the case, if I go and I don't do all of these things and the camp leaves me and there's a whole different story arc, well, that could be something that I think would be revolutionary. But I have too many unanswered questions with. It seems like I could just go buy Farming Simulator if I wanted to take care of a horse, or if I wanted to make a farm with like employees and take care of them and build their morale. I'd go buy a simulator. I'm looking for that Grand Theft Auto immersing story to drive me. So I feel that the game is too broke up, I guess, is the best way I could say it. The way the breakup, I don't know how they can make a good balance of story and these side things that are mandatory. It's not even most side quests that you don't have to do for the story to be great, you know?
Yeah, it does seem like they have a lot of moving parts, and I'm really curious as to how they're going to balance that out. And if anyone can do it, I'll say Rockstar is probably that company that can, because you look at GTA 5, and when they first announced that GTA 5 was going to have 3 main characters, the first thought that goes through your head is, how is this even going to work? And what's the focus of this game going to be when there's 3 different guys I'm playing as? And I think they did a really good job of bringing it together. But I feel like now they're just starting to put more and more on the plate, and you're just kind of like, all right, well, when does this now... It starts to not feel like a game anymore. And that's what I'm worried about, when it feels like a chore. And I don't want that to happen with our video games. Because all it takes is one company to do this and it succeed, and then other companies start doing it. Because open world games weren't very popular until one company really pushed the envelope with it, and now single player linear games are not popular. So I'm really curious as to where this is going to go and what it means for the future of gaming as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I will say that I'm pleasantly happy with, and the one gripe that I've always had other Rockstar games, especially Grand Theft Auto, and even Red Dead, was the combat to me felt really lackluster. So this game, the combat to me looks brutal. And I know that we all know that Rockstar does not care about the content of their game. They don't hold anything back. It goes all in. And I know lately in a lot of games press where there's a lot of media going like, is too brutal, is too much violence a bad thing? And I don't think so. I think that they did a really good job of revamping, or at least what I've seen. I haven't played it, but I was so over the pick up a gun, pull the trigger, insta lock to a person, shoot it, kill, let go of the trigger, pull the trigger again, instant lock to another enemy. This one looks more fluid. It looks like the abilities that you can have really fit that genre, that era of the Wild Wild West. And I think that is going to be the biggest improvement to the game versus all these other incredible realistic things that they're doing. I think the gameplay is going to be the best.
Yeah, I actually agree. When I was watching the trailer, I was like, they look like they revamped the combat, and then directly after saying that in the trailer, they say that they completely reworked the combat, and I was like, oh well, that makes sense because it looks like you did. It doesn't even look the same, and I agree with you about the brutality of it, and I think it actually fits that Wild Western setting because like when you think of the Wild West, you think of brutal, you think of any man for himself. Technically, you were some guy walking down the street with a load of cash. You could just be shot at any moment, or you could just be punched in the face. And I really think that they're captivating that in this game, where it was just kind of like, hey, if you want it, you got to take it. And that's kind of the world that you're living in there.
Yeah, and if there was anything a flaw to the Grand Theft Auto games, or even Red Dead 1, Red Dead Redemption, would be the combat for me. And I'm really excited about, even the camera angle seems a little bit closer, a little bit more intimate with the character. I think that it's just one more step of that immersion that Rockstar's known for in their games that I think was needed. And I hope that if this is as good as it looks, they use that for all of their games moving forward, because rework it obviously to fit the time or fit the era of the game, but I definitely think that was the most needed, and I was the most excited about the whole trailer that we got.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the weird thing is, like, whenever you hear people talk about Rockstar, they always kind of talk about things in this positive light, and I'm always curious as to when people are going to complain about something Rockstar does. And you and me right now are complaining about the realism, but most people aren't. So that's usually what's interesting to me. And I feel like Rockstar typically gets a pass, so I'm curious as to where this game's going to fall, because I wonder if it's going to come out and people are going to say, yeah, you know what, this is a little too realistic, Rockstar, you should have dialed it back. This isn't what we want from our game, and then maybe we'll get a patch where it's kind of like, all right, well, now this stuff isn't as mandatory as Rockstar wants it, which we don't know how mandatory it is. But I feel like Rockstar typically gets a pass where no matter what they do, their games are great to people. It's almost kind of like Bethesda to me, except on a much greater scale. I think Rockstar could do anything. Look at the microtransactions that they put in GTA Online, where it's basically pay to win. And in a world right now where people are literally complaining about microtransactions almost every day, I never hear anyone say anything about GTA Online. People are just kind of like, yeah, GTA is good. I love it. It's like, yeah, but they might have the worst.
Still tops the sales charts like every month.
Yeah, still the most sold game since 2013.
It's insane. And to me, I don't think this is just going to be a side quest. They dedicated an entire video, and the bulk of that video was explaining the camps, the details of the morale of your posse, the horses that you have to take care of. I don't think they would have dedicated an entire video to that if it wasn't like super important. So I can't wait to see more. I hope that they wrong, which I have high hopes for, but I don't want to be maintaining a camp and a horse when I could be playing a video game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Especially in a world now we live in where it feels like new games come out every month. Like some big title too. Like now it's not even like the little things that would trickle out. It's just, man, it feels like blockbuster hit after blockbuster hit, like at least once a month.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about on this video?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, I know we have one. I know that this is like the first one in the series. They're going to do more Red Dead videos. The next one is a much bigger focus on the side quest combat and the heists, from my understanding.
Which I'm excited about, because the heists were my favorite part about Grand Theft Auto. So I hope that they, revoke my interest and bring back up my hype for this game in the next ones.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So we'll definitely have a video on that one once that trailer drops. That video will come out much sooner in comparison to this one.
Yeah.
So once again, leave a like if you like this video. Please remember to subscribe. This has been Insite Media, and we are going.